Hi, I'm Manni Chopra, and welcome to Passion for Property with none other than, wait for it, a very personable property guy, an auction pro, the man behind the gavel drops, and he's someone who knows insider auction secrets, the author of Before the Hammer Falls. Welcome, Jay Howard.
Thank you for having me, Manny.
Jay, wonderful book, by the way. And
I love that you've got tabs.
Thank you very
I
much.
love tabs.
That's evidence, right?
This has been a red book. That's amazing.
Thank you very much. So, Jay, firstly, thanks for giving up your time today, and tell us all about how it all started out. Property. I know you've done 3 degrees: psychology, classics, law, and how does this all fit into your property world and how it all started out?
I think, God, how did it all start? So I always tell people that it happened by accident because I think it did. So I fell into the first degree because I got kicked out of school.
And how did you get into a degree once you got kicked out? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, so it was like the first year of high school, and I had a run-in with a maths teacher, and it didn't go well. So they
Expelled
they
you.
expelled me. And they got a social worker involved, and I spent time with the social worker. And she goes, you might be intelligent. So they put me in for a Mensa test, and I came back scoring 157,
Which
as
is
a median rate. So
okay.
so there at some points my intelligence would be 160ish, but 157 is kind of like my constant. And they said, well, okay, maybe he's acting out because being in high school isn't challenging him enough. So they said, well, why don't we put him through a degree at the same time?
Oh, you could do that back then.
Well, no, not traditionally, but they created that environment.
Because of your high Mensa score. So just on the context for the Mensa score, what is that supposed to be a really high?
Yeah, it's in one of the top upper percentiles. It's kind of I think Stephen Hawking is like maybe 160.
Are you kidding me?
Oh.
That is incredible. You're being very modest about that, but that is amazing.
It's all been misspent.
We'll talk about that in a
I
minute.
cannot tell you how much. It doesn't matter how many people go, oh, well, that's really good. Like how intelligent you are.
Yeah.
Well, I did 3 degrees because I couldn't decide what I wanted to do. I mean, I fell into the psychology, which was the first one. I started that when I was 11, and I did the 2 years.
11 years old.
Yeah.
You did a degree at 11.
Well, no, I started it. I finished it at 13.
What? I mean, it's not. You're making it sound very normal, right?
Well,
people are still in like year 7 and year 8 at the age of 11 and 13.
And I did the 2nd degree when I was 17, and that was classics. Because I was really good with dead languages and ancient mythology. I'm kind of painted in ancient mythology things, so it's. But yeah, and then the 3rd degree was a law degree at a reasonable age, 21.
The normal.
The normal.
age.
I thought I'd line up
Right.
just with other people, but yeah. So that was my 3rd time round. Yeah.
Wow, law degree. That helps a lot with your auction legal packs.
Well, I think all 3 degrees kind of tie in there some way. I mean, auctions, it's one of the earliest ways human beings transacted, markets and auctions, livestock, people, you're not allowed to do that anymore, obviously, but property, auctions has a very rich
It's been
and checkered
maybe
past.
2,000 years and more, probably, right?
Yeah, definitely. It's like almost earliest records of an auction is like in Greece.
Wow.
So that kind of ties into it. The fact that I mean, I love auctions for many reasons, but I love that it's got that kind of connection. But the psychology, auctions are very psychological. People make most of the mistakes by falling into psychological traps that the auction naturally creates. And law is very good because it enables me to be able to go through a legal pack, know what I know very clearly what I don't know, and know what I should be worried about, and then hand it over to a legal professional and say, look, this is what I've looked at. Can you give me yays or nays on these, or what I should be afraid of here? And it doesn't make the process cheaper. Working with the same solicitors over a long period of time makes them more forgiving on fees because there's a relationship, but it makes it quicker. And auctions is all about speed.
But it's all about due diligence, right? So if you're not going to spend that money up front, you're just not going to. It's a risk and reward thing, right?
And
you're going to take some risks.
It's unnecessary risk. And the majority of people that I speak to are like, well, I'm looking at 10 properties I want to bid on. I said, then you're not then you're not doing your due diligence
Yeah, and
properly.
you're not going to have the bandwidth, right? Unless you've got a team of people doing it.
Yeah.
But going back to your first property, then
Mm.
I believe it was all about auctions. Started this beautiful journey with an auction deal.
Yeah. I obviously I like to conform and be normal like most people, but I bought my first property at auction in a commercial auction, a commercial property. It was a funeral director's home.
Wow.
And it had I loved the business. It was in like in West Sussex. I loved the business because it was a funeral director's home. Upstairs they had like caskets for show and tombstones and
Did it
things
not
like.
scare you?
No, not really.
No.
But they had cremation ovens out the back, and I thought, wow, as a business in a box. I didn't call it a business in the box at the time, but like they didn't need to go to a secondary business to do anything.
People
It was
come to them, right?
all in there. Um, and yeah, I thought, what could go wrong? People are just going to always die. There's no way around that.
We
I
have
mean,
no choice, right?
it's ticking away. And I thought, well, merge the two things that people are always going to have a necessity for. Unless we figure out immortality, we're all going to be dying sooner or later, and we all need somewhere to live and,
Yeah.
and businesses to operate. So I put that together, and then I think I was in that deal for about 18 months. I was never at that point thinking I'm going to be
Long
flipping
term.
or trading. I always thought, the income was helpful at that
Yeah.
time. I was looking after my younger brother. My mother had passed away earlier that year, and I just thought the additional income whilst I was going to university and working would just be helpful. And about 8 or 9 months in, one of the canisters for the cremation ovens backfired or
Blew up.
whatever it was, blew up and went through the roof.
Crazy.
And then I ended up selling it for I think 60 or 80,000 pounds more because it had a brand new roof and
Yeah,
everything
it was
was dealt with.
completely renovated free.
And
Well,
now there was no insurance risk because there were no cremation ovens anymore. So they the idea was that they were going to put in for planning to extend out the back so they had more room to.
speak to people and
Yeah.
stuff. So there wasn't going to be the actual cremation on site then. Actually
No.
worked out better for you and probably sold for a great profit.
Yeah, well, it was between 60 and 80. It's so long ago.
Yeah,
So
gosh, yeah.
But it was a really quick indicator because I bought it from auction and in under 2 years I'd sold it in auction. And whilst I'd owned it for 18 months, I think I'd made about 14,000 pounds in income.
Wow.
And then I sold it for like
Amazing.
70,000 pound profit. So, and that was all, I fell into it.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, you probably had some family background in property, presumably, or someone
Yes.
telling you, look, this is what you should. Oh, but your intelligence level was next level anyway. So I guess you found out yourself.
So it was a really, really strange thing. My family, it's a huge family. And I was from like the poorer side of the family. Do you know what I mean?
God.
So my grandmother married out of the family. She married out of the religion. She married an Italian dude. Perfectly fine.
Right.
I make a mean bolognese. But that's the only thing I got from it. Do you know what I mean? Apart from the beautiful
positive.
brown eyes. I got
Yeah.
nothing else. But
Oh, so you're half Italian.
half Italian. And then
Ooh.
my mother married out to just like an English dude, right? But the family is like it's a big
It's
Jewish
mixed.
family,
Yeah.
right? But I had nothing to do with it. So, but obviously, you only see the rich side of any family at weddings and funerals.
Yes.
So when my mother passed away, they all turned up and they wanted to like hear what was going on with myself and my brother. And when they found out, he's now starting his second degree, IQ of 157, he's doing this, that, and the other. They then brought me into the family business, which was like a private family office.
Right.
And I only dealt with one of the trusts. And one of the trusts, when I came into that, was worth 2.7 billion. And in 7 years, I'd asset managed and increased that portfolio to 3.3
Wow. In 7 years.
in 7 years.
So they actually trusted you at the age of 17,
17.
18. Of course, your intelligence score, and they knew how practical you were. But going back to the personal side of things, of course, losing your mum at the very young age of 17 must have been, it's tragic, obviously, for anyone, but at that young age. So how did that all pan out? That must have been very tough.
Well, I'm still not healed from that.
Yeah.
No. I'll be paying the tuition fees of a therapist for their kids for a while. Just hard.
It's hard. I only know that because my husband went through the same tragedy as a young child himself,
Yeah.
and that sort of teenage years.
Well,
So
I
I
grew
kind
up in this. It was just her from the age of 5 because my father had left when I was like 4 or 5.
Are you in
And
touch
then
with him or?
no, Um, and yeah, and she passed, and then I was looking after my brother. He's got moderate disabilities, so and I was doing that, working and doing a degree and buying a property to invest it, to get an income and all that kind of stuff.
That
That
is a
was
lot of pressure at that
that was
young
a year.
age.
Yeah, yeah,
That year must have been very, very tough. And of course, as you said, you're still healing from it.
yeah.
But it shaped you as a person and shaped you for who you are right now with
That's
all
it.
your
Yeah.
success and your
Unbreakable, I keep
unbreak.
saying, yeah, which
Absolutely.
almost kind of feels like I'm taunting the universe, like there's some karmic thing that's going, let's just check this. Let's just see if he's really unbreakable.
Yeah,
Let's just
actually.
see what else we can throw at him. But I refuse. I'll keep smiling. I'll keep trying to see the positive and the good in things, and just keep
Do you
cracking
think
on.
it's a lot like where your mum was, you think? Or
Yeah, she was amazing, and she just, not everything went well for her in her life, and she
yeah.
just kind of, she was still a
Res-
great human being and smiley and
Well,
happy, and
I can imagine just by
yeah,
from, who you are as a person. I can
yeah,
imagine what you must have been like. But so now cut short to now, and I know you've been through this, last 20 years of incredible success within the property world. Uh, let's just maybe start off with saying, firstly, where's property right now in terms of auctions? What's going on? Because we know that the market right now is tough.
yeah.
Compliance, the government regulations, Brexit, pandemic, everything together has made the property market where we are right now. And auctions generally are an indicator of the early, market sentiment of what's to come.
Yeah.
So could you tell us a little bit about what's going on in the auction world right now? And
So I mean, we always see the auction market as like the barometer. What you're seeing in auctions, you see play out in the open market 6 months later.
always,
I mean, there are times where that slows down. So if the property market in general is high flying, everything's moving
yeah,
fast, auctions are amazing.
yeah,
Because whilst everything's doing that, if a vendor can believe in the auction process and the property price at auctions 20-30% below what's actually happening,
yeah,
it's always going to do well.
right,
In the same way as if the property market's terrible, it doesn't matter because the auctions are always going to be below that market level, and people are always going to see them as opportunities.
yeah,
Where it kind of struggles is where there's uncertainty, where everybody just sits on their hands
yeah,
and nobody really knows what they're supposed to be doing. And I think we're kind of metronoming either side of that line. We're not going like this.
yeah,
It's just like every once in a while we're sitting on that dead dividing line where no one knows what they're doing, so no one does anything. And then sometimes it just dips below, and then sometimes it dips above. And we try not to look at the market in too much of a fragmented way. If I say in the last week auctions have been this kind of percentage, that it's you can't then take that into auctions next month.
right.
So we need to be looking at auctions over a 3 or 4 auction cycle. And generally speaking, auctions are a 6 week, 6-7 week kind of
Every six
cycle.
weeks there is
Yeah.
so the same auction house, for example, like Savills or whatever, will have an auction every 6 weeks typically.
Yeah. Well, I mean, funny you mentioned Savills. 5 years ago, yes. But now Savills are doing, I think, 14, 15 auctions this year.
So that's
Sometimes they're
oh,
doing 2
two a,
auctions a
m-
month.
2 a month, yeah.
Yeah.
That's
And
definitely one a month.
yeah.
So
And then
it's
some months they're doubling up.
so it's almost double of what the typical auction cycle would be in a normal kind of
Yeah. So
period.
what I can say very clearly about the auction market is from 2019 to today, it has almost increased by 20%
Wow.
every single
In
year
terms of the lots that have
in
been
terms of the lots.
trading to an auction. Yeah.
An auctioneer in 2019 that was doing 100 to 130 properties is now doing 250 to 300 properties
Wow.
every 6 to
Two and a
7
half
weeks.
times almost.
Yeah.
And think about the costs because now they're pretty much either in the online
Yeah.
or hybrid.
Yeah.
So how does a hybrid auction work, by the way?
I mean, I prefer the hybrid because I like to. I think there's a little bit of poker at play, right? If you can see the auctioneer and you can hear how they're speaking, maybe you can pick up on some clues. You can get an idea.
Yeah.
But actually, I think some auctioneers really do add value and get people to bid more. So as a seller, I want to see that.
Yeah.
But then again, like you got the eBay style auction, which is basically just a ticking clock going down. We got a little clock there, but a ticking clock just going down.
Yeah.
And the behavior of a ticking clock going down to zero, what that does to people is actually insane because people will wait for that very last second to bid. and then the clock starts again at 60 seconds.
Right.
Then there's a fight. Then it stops. Then it goes down. And that bidding, that competition, that not wanting to miss out, that's something that's beautiful about the auctions.
Yeah.
I mean, from a selling side at least. But we love auctions to buy. Pretty much every property we bought for the last 10 years
Yeah.
and sold has been bought and sold at
in
auction.
auction.
Yeah.
Always.
Always.
So going back to the online, then do you think people can be a lot more restricted now that they're behind their desk or they're on a phone or however they're bidding? Do you think that could say, okay, this is my last bid and that's it, I'm walking away? It's easier for people to do that. So maybe that's affecting the price that the lot might reach. Do you think, kind of from a psychological point of view as well, what are your thoughts on that sort of
So I think psychologically there's a lot that's changed from the auctions going online, right?
Yeah.
Because when you would to go to an auction room, you'd have to take a day off work.
Yeah.
And not every investor is a full-time investor.
Absolutely.
Some people are building a pot for pension or whatever
Yeah.
the story is. And not everyone could make that whole day.
Yeah.
But now, brilliant story. A lady, she used to be in our auction buyers club, and she was buying a property, but she was also on the beach in Spain because she didn't want to sacrifice her
holiday for this, because it might happen, might not happen, right?
So she's on the beach, she's snorkeling, she comes out of the ocean. I'm assuming it's the ocean. It's definitely the ocean. She comes out of the ocean, opens her phone, bids on her phone, wins, snorkel back in the ocean. Now, you couldn't have done that 6 years ago.
No way.
And it has completely opened up the market. When I was the auction manager for Auction House London, we would have, on a good day, across from start to finish, 500 to 700 people coming in and out of that auction room. It's a lot of people.
A lot of people, yeah.
But now, when I speak to the guys at Auction House London or Savills or whoever, I talk to everybody.
Yeah.
We've got really good relationships with every auctioneer we come into contact with because we want to help our clients buy and sell through them, because that's our business. We help people buy and transact at auction, and the auctioneers by and large love us for that. But there could be 2,000 to 3,000 to 5,000 people watching their auction.
Wow.
With 8 or 9 or 1,000 people.
So that's 10
bidding.
times, isn't it? You're saying before it was 300 to 500.
Yeah.
Now it's about 5 to 7.
Yeah, and now think about all the people that were nervous to go into
The room.
the physical room, because it's intimidating. There are professional. It was an environment for professionals. And then I've been in property for a long time, going to networking events, including yours. J6 was one of the first events I used to speak at.
Do you remember that?
Best cake ever. Anyway, I used to do all that kind of stuff, and every time I'd go to an event, it would always be 3 or 4 women that were doing amazing things in property, but always go, I wouldn't go into the room.
Yeah.
But now they're doing so many great deals at auction, and they can do it from the comfort of their own home.
Wow.
From a beach in Spain.
Yeah.
I mean, I always make the funny comment, you could literally be sitting on the toilet at home bidding, and nobody would know.
No, yeah.
You don't know how to put.
It's true though.
Put trousers on. Put on your coat. Yeah,
You could bid naked.
naked. You don't have.
wanted to.
You don't have to interact with the agent, the auctioneer. You don't have to deal. You don't. You can bid freely in any environment that you're comfortable in.
Yeah.
And I think that's been one of the biggest game changers. for the
Yeah,
auction
definitely a
industry.
game changer
Huge.
for sure.
Yeah.
But I think for the positive, mainly, as you said, for the females, especially in the room, who are a bit intimidated by the men, possibly thinking, especially when you're starting out as well. So I think it's probably worked out for the better.
I think it has. I think it's starting to bring auctions into the foreground a bit.
Yeah.
I think building relationships with agents, doing deals with agents, I don't think there's necessarily a problem with that. But I think if you're looking for, we always say look for motivated sellers.
Yes.
And the reason we say look for motivated sellers, and there's a group of people that will hear that and go, just so you can take advantage of them. No.
No.
Just so you're looking for people where you can actually solve a problem, right? Because there are people that put their properties on the market just to get a feel for the market.
Yeah.
And they're just as bad as the people that turn up to a viewing and start knocking on walls and flushing toilets for no bloody reason. Makes no sense. You're going to get a surveyor anyway. Why are you knocking on a random wall? Anyway, it's pointless. But at least if someone's going to auction, there is a motivation to sell.
Well, they want to sell,
Yeah.
right? That's why they're in an auction. They want to.
And they know
get the
that the moment that gavel falls in real life or electronically, that's an exchange of contracts. That's the deal done. There is nothing more powerful than an exchange of contracts, because that marries that deal in.
Yeah.
And I've tried Honestly, I've tried for years. I've been doing this like 23. I really have honestly tried to do deals with estate agents and deal sourcers. And I used to do lettering out to direct event. I've put the work in, but it's just not worth it.
No.
A friend of mine put an offer in on the property December of last year. She's completing this week.
9 months later.
I don't know who has the patience or the
It's
time or to pipeline. I need to be doing more than one deal a year, and I can't.
yeah.
And I think a lot of investors are held up on trying to get this deal done, so they ignore all the. So what's the opportunity cost of sitting waiting for that deal to happen for
Yeah.
9 months? It's huge.
It's huge.
And unless you have the bandwidth, the capacity, the capital, the appetite for risk, all of these different types of things to be able to run several deals, waiting 9 months for it to go through, maybe you can. I don't know if every investor can. I just think there's massive market inefficiencies and fractures that can be pieced together. The auctions are not perfect by any means, but it works for me and it solves a lot of my problems because I can't wait 6 months once I've agreed a deal to actually.
Can you imagine? I mean, especially you who've done
I,
only ever deals in auction. And I understand why, because I'm frustrated as well. Like the pipeline, like I'm kind of in the middle of trying to, bid for deals, not bid, but offer on deals on the open market. And it's terribly frustrating because A, you can't find them. They want more for their money. And in auction, there's a certainty of knowing, okay, so let's put it that way, right? I'm a newbie auction buyer. I've sold in auction, but never bought in auction.
yeah.
How much money do
You
I
have sold in auction.
through
High
the
five.
through the
Yes.
hammered auction
Through the
team,
hammered team,
and you did
yes.
very well. I know there were some legal issues going on, but we finally managed to complete. Slightly delayed, but we got a lot more than we expected, to be honest.
Yeah.
So I was very grateful to you and Piotr for your
But you
input.
kind of you bought into the, when we said it needs to be guided and reserved, we're not saying that's what the property's worth. We just know what is necessary to motivate the market. And
Yeah.
it requires a huge leap of faith. But fortunately you knew us and you trusted us and
Of course.
and it came out really well, which is fantastic. But yeah, so yes, you've sold, but now you're interested in buying.
100%. So I'm want to buy an auction this year, 2025. Where do I start? What's the minimum investment I need? How much cash do I need to start with? And let's just get this journey through someone who's actually keen to get into an auction deal.
So I always shy away from parts of that question because they're difficult to answer, not because there's too many variables,
Yeah.
right? But the solid advice that I would give if somebody's looking to start is I've got an email account that I've set up only for newsletters.
Right.
Agents and auctioneers. I signed up to pretty much every auctioneer's newsletter in the country, at least the main 120 odd,
Oh,
and there's
wow.
300 and something of them. So I get bombarded with newsletters, but I get to see what's coming up. So subscribe to every newsletter you can get your hands on.
Right.
Then I focus on auctioneers where they are dealing with stock or situations that are outside of their zone of competence,
Yeah.
or where they're getting the best results.
Yeah.
For instance, if I find a property in Birmingham that's being sold by an auctioneer in Kent,
Right. Yeah.
that's
of
an
course.
inefficiency
Yeah, absolutely.
because
Why would
Birmingham
someone-
investors are looking at Birmingham auctioneers,
Yeah.
and Kent investors are looking at Kent
Kent, yeah.
opportunities. And maybe there's a little crossover, but there is a higher chance of that property not selling or underselling in that environment compared to if it was put in the right place, which that's what we do. We help sellers put the property in the right place. The other inefficiencies we look out for is, are there any internal images? If there are no internal images, that puts a lot of people off. People just skip the page or scroll down.
Right.
Perfect. Because they're looking for pictures. They're not looking for profit,
Yeah.
right? If there's no opportunity for viewing, buy them. I buy them like it's going out of fashion.
Seriously? So have you
How?
bought?
I mean, how difficult is it? Because one of the things that we do is
So no pictures, no viewings.
no pictures, no viewings. Buy it like it's going out.
Would you go outside, stand, look at it,
I would-
try and peek through?
I will give you a piece of advice. Don't tell anyone else. I'll give you a piece of advice, right? And I don't think people pay attention to this, but if there's a property on auction on a road, there is a chance that there is a property that is the absolute mirror of that's on with a local estate agent.
Ah, that's a very good tip.
So if you need to go and have a look at like how it's built or like
The
granted,
structure.
you're not. It's that property is not the same as that property, but you get a rough idea. And obviously, if you get the chance, knock on the door to see if you can get access. Always do a door knock, just to see what you can do.
Why not, right?
And if not, just be a nosy neighbor. Knock on the door. See if you can look through the window. Just do
Yeah.
whatever you can. Manage. What's your worst case
I
scenario?
mean,
If
I
I
think
had
the
to
worst case scenario is subsidence or something, and the whole house is going to fall down.
fixable.
Insurance.
Insurance, you can do the resin stuff. The resin stuff is like 25 years insurance backed now.
What's this
Not
resin stuff?
not everything needs underpinning like it did before,
Right.
right? And
So,
underpinning scares people off.
ah,
But there's like different ways to look at
so
this.
resin found in the foundation or
But
something.
if
And then,
something's got a structural issue,
yeah.
if you cannot see any movement from the outside,
Yes.
you're not going to see anything from the inside.
Yeah.
So, no floor plans, no internal viewings, no pictures, no video walkthrough. Since COVID, a video walkthrough is almost like it's an industry standard,
Yeah.
because not everyone can get to go and view the property, but if they can do the little Matterport walkthrough, perfect.
Yeah.
But if, let's say, it's the Birmingham property is being sold in Kent, there's no internal viewings, there's no internal pictures, there's no floor plan, no video walkthrough. What are you buying? You don't know. But everybody you could, at your events, anyone that you would speak to, in 150 odd people in that room, how many do you think would buy?
5
Amazing.
maximum.
Because they have a risk profile. Maybe they've been doing it for 20
Yes.
years. They're happy to take a risk knowing that actually their rebuild cost or whatever they're going to is less than everybody else's. They'll cover it by holding it for 15 years
Yeah.
and it will wipe its feet in 10. It'll be absolutely fine. But the majority won't be able to do that. So now you're limiting the circles of people that were going to be able to bid for this.
It's true, actually. You're literally you can't on your fingers, actually, how many people would actually be bidding for this property.
Exactly. And that's what you're looking for. The next thing you want is a half-assed legal pack.
Yes.
Desperate for it.
Yeah.
If you find a legal pack that's all bells and singing whistles, it tells you everything you need to tell, it's really clear, really simple, you're making it easy for everyone to purchase. But if you find a property in Birmingham that's being sold in Kent, where there's no internal viewings, no pictures, no video walkthrough, no floor plan, and the legal pack is half-assed, you've got to be the only human being stupid enough
Literally.
to do this.
Which
right?
is you and
And
Piotr.
I'm perfectly happy to say I'm stupid enough to do it. Because actually, over 20 odd years, you get a real flavour for these things. I can look at a deal and I can go, right, that deal works at this price. And we back ourselves on that. I mean, Piotr's very good with the back end numbers and due diligence, but we can assess a deal very, very quickly. And we know if it's a marginal deal, if it's going to make us a lot, or if there's a chance
Well, you know your numbers. You've been doing it over 20 years,
Yeah.
right? So that's me, done all the newsletters, looked at all these properties which are in different areas or, regions that they shouldn't be in, looked at something which, again, as you said, get the right insurances for all these, where if they're possible subsidence and all. Next, then, just put your number, put your bid in.
you just have to be there.
Bid, yeah.
You just have to be there. I'm a little bit of a hypocrite when I say these things. I think people end up paying more if they buy pre-auction than if they bid in the room.
You think?
Oh,
Pre-auction,
you
seriously?
have no idea how many times. So the number of times I've seen a vendor accept a pre-auction offer. Bear in mind, when a vendor accepts a pre-auction offer, you have to understand that they're now removing this property from 20, 30 people that are going to bid for it.
Yes.
So they have to believe, beyond any form of reasonable doubt, that you are paying them more than they think 20 or 30 people fighting each other.
Or do you think they're more motivated than?
We can tell ourselves any story, but I guarantee you. So and this is, bear in mind, for 7 years I was at Auction House London. Every single contract that came in crossed my desk. Every single exchange crossed my desk. That was my role for 7 years. And I can categorically say that I have seen more people make pre-auction offers that have been rejected. They go to auction and they win it for less in the room. I've seen that more than I've seen somebody win a pre-auction deal that I thought was a really good price.
Seriously. So but it's funny because most people say, oh, try and get a pre-auction. You can get a better deal.
I know, and God bless them, but that's quite literally the dumbest thing.
Honestly, that's the one advice that I hear people saying it all the time, and you're saying it quite the opposite.
Yeah.
You're saying go to the room.
I'm saying go to the room.
To buy and to sell. Obviously, sell. Of course, you want to go to the room anyway,
Yeah, I
right?
mean,
Because you want the competition there, and
yeah.
But to buy,
Always to buy,
and you've never bought in pre-auction.
I have bought pre-auction, but on the handful of occasions I bought pre-auction, it's when an auctioneer has come to me basically saying, look, they're literally they're not going to make it to the auction
Oh,
because they're going to be repossessed or something's
yeah.
going to happen. They need someone to take a
Certainty.
view on it now.
Certainty, yeah.
And it's only because I've got a good relationship and they know if I make the offer, we stand behind that.
Yeah.
So it only goes out to a few people that they trust to be able to perform,
Right.
to actually help their client. You have to remember, no auctioneer wants a property sold pre-auction.
Yeah.
They want that fight because that's what they've sold
That's
the
what
solution on.
That's their business model, right?
Yeah.
To get people in the auction room.
But one of the things I do say is I say always register, always be prepared to bid, always make sure that you're ready to bid, right? And if nothing happens when you register, like no one else starts bidding, there's no
Yeah.
competition, then bid. Everyone's like, oh, I'll wait.
Yeah.
I'll wait till after the auction. Your moment is gone.
Yeah.
When I said earlier, the power of the exchange of contracts under the fall of that gavel is unbeatable. It's unbeatable, right?
Absolutely.
Because that reserve is set there. Now, post-auction, the vendor can, all the rules, it's now, everything's off the table.
Yeah.
You could have bought that property for 140, being the only bidder, and now post-auction, no, now we need 165.
Oh, do you think they often ask for more?
Always. Not often.
But I would have thought they're
Always.
more desperate.
No. And yeah, but it's crazy because now they're given time to think. Oh, well, thank God it didn't sell for that 140. Now
Oh.
it goes the opposite way.
Almost always, or
Almost always.
interesting. Because I would have thought, let's say, for example, those garages which I sold through you guys in the auction, if it hadn't sold, and because I was motivated, I thought I would have thought I'd drop it.
No.
No.
Because what happens post-auction is the auctioneers then reach out to all the interested parties and say, look, it didn't sell at auction.
Yeah.
Come back to us
For your
the best
final
final.
bid. Yeah.
Then all of a sudden you realise that there's 3 people that are now wanting to go and view it for the 2nd or 5th time. Now there are 2 or 3 people talking about this, and then all of a sudden your expectations are now back up to, well, now we have a post-auction auction.
Yeah.
Now I think we can get one. It changes so quickly.
And it's funny because almost everyone I speak to say, oh, either buy it pre-auction or post-auction. But you're saying nothing doing in the room.
There
bid.
is quite. I mean, this is as someone who 50-50.
Yeah.
50% of what he's bought, no, 100% of what he's bought, he sold at auction. So every time I've been a buyer, I've been a seller.
Yes.
And I will still, as a buyer, aim to buy in the room.
Yeah. So the interesting thing is you are a trader, right? So
Yes.
you always just buy to eventually then sell.
Yeah, that's the sole intention, buy to sell.
Buy to sell. Yeah.
As quickly
But
and as painlessly as possible.
exactly. So what would you do to this? So let's maybe start off with, firstly, how do you then add value or take the value away, or what do you do to the deal to then be able to sell it for 30, 40, 50,000 pound profit? And how does that all work?
You
don't have to say all your secrets, but maybe 1 or 2.
I'm going to tell you. I'm going to tell you because I don't think anyone listening is going to believe, and I think it's going to knock your socks off, and maybe you'll be questioning it for a while as well as the guys here. There's some handsome lads here as well,
Yes.
running the whole system. 90% of the time, I do sweet fuck all.
Literally.
I do as next to nothing as is
Possible.
Now, don't get me wrong. So, Piotr does a lot of stuff.
Someone's doing something.
Someone's doing something, but it ain't me. No. So there. I mean, I don't want to limit trading down to a couple of things.
Yeah.
The most common way a trader adds value to a property is they resolve the problems that I've just told you about.
Right. The
Right?
paperwork problems, possibly.
So they then take that. We'll use the same example. They'll take that Birmingham property in the Kent auction and they'll put it into a Birmingham auction. Right?
Yeah.
They will then take the fact that there were no internal images and they'll go in there, they'll take internal images. They'll clear the place out, make it
Right.
tidy. Then they'll do a floor plan. Then they'll do a video walkthrough. They'll look at that legal pack and they'll fill it with things that are actually useful. They'll get a search pack in. They'll make sure that the information is clear and ready, easy to do. And then what they'll do is they'll put it into auction for less than what they paid for it.
Because that's the whole point, right? The guide has to be very low.
It has not even very low is not right. It has to be at a price where it motivates people to get you as close to market value as possible.
Yeah.
Too low is abusive. It just has to be right. So there is a rough calculation.
And also it can't be too low, right? Because the guide versus the reserve and all of that is still in play.
Well, yeah, I mean, you have to be within 10%.
10%.
But also, if it's too low, you're putting your vendor at unnecessary risk. And something that looks too good to be true normally is. And that scares a lot of people off.
Right.
So it's a fine line that you have to dance. But That's how you can trade. You just make something easier to buy.
And you open it up, like you said, to most
You
people
open it up.
because, and then the other thing as well is, do you also maybe fix things like planning issues? So, for example, you bought a site where they got refused planning a couple of times or what have you. Would you then go and get planning, or would you even bother with that?
One of the best deals we did was exactly that. I mean, we've at Titans we talked about the Tooting deal that we did. We bought 4 workshops in Tooting for £212,000 from Harman Healy auction.
Right.
We bought it on like a 7.5%. There's about £14,700 income. The plan was at that point, this was 2019, to use class B1C, which was to go from
B1
workshop, light industrial workshop
workshop.
into C3
Yeah.
residential, and that's what we did
There was PD at the time?
at the time for that.
Yeah.
That ended like within 9 months of us doing that deal. They removed that, and like the following September,
PD.
that one was gone. The prior approval for that was gone, and that's what we did. We then got it vacant, and we put it into auction, and it sold for £650,000. So net, we made £430,000 in under 8 months.
Wow. Maybe spend some money to get the PD, permitted development.
Maybe £2,000.
Yeah, it's not a lot, is it? It's not like
No.
planning where you got to.
And bear in mind, the cost of our lending was serviced by the income.
Oh, there was an income producing asset.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So literally
Nothing.
nothing.
And you made 400,000 profit on it.
Yeah.
Wow. No wonder you're still smiling.
Yeah. I mean, I mean, whichever deity dares listen. I mean, more of those. I mean, just as many as you can give me.
But you know what?
But
It's like you say that you say you're lucky, but no, you're not lucky because you worked towards this,
Well, no,
right?
we transact, and you create your own luck by doing. So we're always happy for that to repeat itself. But until then, we will still be doing deals where we make 50, 100, 150.
Is that your typical sort of, what sort of minimum profit margin do you guys, because obviously you guys have done so many deals, when do you think it's worth your while getting out of bed, basically? Let's put it that way to say, shall we,
I think we were in a deal for 7 weeks from exchange to completion. We ran it as a back-to-back.
Right. So what do you do? So you bought it in an auction?
So no, it was one of the super rare occasions where we bought off market.
Oh.
Off market, and then we
Exchanged?
We always exchange.
Exchange.
Nothing beats an exchange of contract.
Absolutely. It's so certain, right?
Yeah, and it gives the seller so much confidence, and it gives you confidence that you
Because
can.
some traders do it with options as well, right? They only have an option. Can you do that?
Yeah, so I mean, those are really difficult to sell. Selling an option is really difficult.
But people do it.
Yeah,
And
it happens.
And it sells.
Not as well as
No.
not as well as if they were the registered owner.
Yeah. Fine. So going back to your.
So we ran this one. It was we bought it in Welling in Kent.
Yeah.
We bought it. We exchanged contracts.
The off-market one, yeah?
Market for I think about 350,000.
Right.
And
So you put 10% in.
10%. Well, no, 5% in because
You can negotiate.
negotiate. Because we said that we would do the deal in 8 weeks.
Right.
But we had the option in that to complete earlier.
Yeah.
But they weren't living there, and the fact they could get their money a little bit earlier was perfect. The moment we exchanged, that same day it went into auction. 7 weeks later it completed, and gross it sold for 417. So it made like 67,000.
Wow. So
But
that's
costs and things like that, I would say comfortably we netted 48.50.
50. So that's the minimum I'd say you get out of bed for.
This is what kind of confuses people. We don't have a minimum.
No.
We need the transacting, so we're not volume traders, we're value traders.
Yeah.
But a volume trader, Save Jersey, most people do.
Yes, of course.
He's doing about 20 deals a month.
A month.
A month. And
one every working day, basically. There's 20 working days in a month.
He wants to double it to 40, and then he wants to go from 40 to 80, and he'll keep going. There's a trader I know that's been selling on average 120 to 160 properties a month since 2016.
120 properties a month.
A month.
So he must have bought these properties for him to sell them.
Once you have a pipeline,
yeah,
and you keep feeding that pipeline, yeah.
He's
not starting cold every single month.
Right. 120 a month.
Yeah. And he has it's him and 4 people in his team.
Oh, but it's his business, or is it all?
It's his business.
Wow, that's
crazy.
incredible.
But Safe is doing 20, which is still which bloody
Crazy, which is
impressive.
still bloody crazy
Because and
expensive.
he's super switched on, smart guy. Like I've got a lot of respect for Safe,
Yeah.
but he wants to double. But he's a volume trader, so if he makes 5K on a deal, that's better than breaking even or losing.
5K times how many did you say he does? 20,
20.
100 grand
Yes, that's 1.2 million on a worst case scenario
on a
for a
year.
year.
Wow.
I know people that would take that.
Yeah.
But fortunately for him, that's not the case. 20, 30, 50K, this, that, and the other. I mean,
Yeah.
bear in mind, as a volume trader, not all of them are going to be super profitable.
Yeah.
You'll break even on 3 or 4, you'll
Yeah.
lose on a couple, but actually you're always up. And I think that's the thing that makes trading difficult for a property investor to understand, because I've never met a property investor that can sit down and I say, if you want to look at trading, you have to be comfortable losing 50 grand.
And also, I think it's a heavily systemized business you got to have, right? The legal packs and the bidding and the registration. I mean, he must have a very big team for him to do
And
that.
before you even get to the team, you have to you have to be able to do what you say you're going to do.
Yeah.
Reputation is huge. If you say you're going to do a deal at this price, you do the deal at that price. Whether or not you think you're going to make money from it, you do that deal. And there are people that pull out of deals all the time, change their mind.
So with your trading, yours are mostly back to back, or you end up completing on some of them and then
Well,
doing.
no, even on the back to back, you still complete.
Oh, you still complete.
You exchange and you complete, but the back to back works because you complete simultaneous with your buyer.
Yeah, that's right.
And that's how you get the stamp duty relief, the sub-sale stamp duty relief. So if as you're back to backing, you're never taking ownership of the property
That's
for
right.
more than like seconds.
Yes.
So you get the stamp duty relief. So
you don't pay. You don't pay stamp duty.
No.
Oh.
There are I can't remember how many there are.
Because you don't
20 stamp duty reliefs for traders.
20.
More. I think 20 I could probably, if I sat down for 30 minutes, I could write 20 of them down.
Wow.
But there are more.
Amazing. So this is really where hopefully the government hasn't got their claws.
Oh, the HMRC and the government loves traders.
Oh,
We perform a vital service to the property industry that, strictly speaking, shouldn't piss anybody off.
yes, because it's individual.
We're freeing up housing stock, properties that are trapped behind probate or whatever the story is,
or whatever
and we're bringing it to market, and we're rewarded for that, bringing it to market for hopefully a home buyer, but if not, an investor to buy. And a lot of the stock that Safe would be trading would be properties that need a light to moderate refurb.
Yeah.
So an investor will buy that. The investor would then do the refurb and probably flip it onto the open market if they can, and if they can't, portfolio it.
I mean, you guys are really creating the growth in the economy that we desperately need right now, right? Because open market, although I think in the open market transaction levels are still quite high, but property prices aren't going anywhere really at the moment.
Look, it depends. It depends on where you are in the country. We're probably a little bit coloured with our vision because of our proximity to London, right? So we're always going to be seeing prices in a different way.
Yeah.
And you're a gateway where you are now into London. So commuter belt style things is always going to be a little bit more attractive. But you go 50, 100 miles out and the story changes.
Yeah, so in terms
and
of
from region to region as
that's what I was going to say. So with you and Piot, not only do you do your own deals, but you also do deals for your client base, right? People who want to either buy or sell. So you're probably covering the whole of the UK? Not
Yeah. No. So I mean, it's so we've got clients that we sell for, like yourself and Romy and other members of
Yeah.
Titans and other groups.
Yes.
We've sold for years, but then we have a group of buyers, so the Auction Buyers Club, and that's a group of maybe 20. I mean, it's capped at 24. A group of maybe 20 people that we help buy for a regular.
So are they committed to like for a year's program or something with
So
you?
it's 6 monthly.
Okay.
And
I think that's the minimum you need really to get into
action.
it.
But yeah, the average. We set this up 5 years ago. We still have one of the original members. She just transacts every year. She wants to stay in the environment. Always does good deals. Then there's people that have been in the club for 3 years. The average stay in the club is 18 to 24 months.
Right. And they'll do what, couple of 2-3 deals in that time?
Oh, well, no, it depends. Some of them are SaaS investors that are just buying commercial property, because auctions is a great way to pick up commercial property.
Yes.
Either for commercial sake or for
or conversion to residential or mixed use.
All completely acceptable. And then there are some that are in the club to trade, some that are just into flips, and some that are building portfolios. So everybody moves at a different pace. But what they all have in common is that they're using auctions for certainty to get deals done.
To buy deals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so we've been helping them for like 5 years, and that's been amazing because it keeps us engaged in auctions when we're not actively buying.
Yeah.
It means that the auctioneers see that we bring buyers as well as sellers, and that there's no downside to any of that.
Yeah. So typically, your auction buyers club, would it be people more like myself, maybe like an SME developer who'll want to buy, like you said, a couple of commercial properties a year, then redevelop them, use permitted development, whatever it is, or mostly you work with traders as well. So, but what are you seeing right now in where
I would
you're
say
trading?
that we probably in the club have about 5 out of 20 people that are only really trading.
So the rest,
I would say the majority are portfolio investors or people that are going to be doing flips. Yeah.
right? So do it up,
Do it up.
sell it
Open
on.
market sell. Yeah.
But do you think flips is a good time for flips right now?
I don't think it's ever a bad time for flips because you're tangibly changing the value of the asset, right?
Yes.
The trading that I mentioned earlier on, where you just clean the property out and take pictures, that's all marketing. You're adding value by changing the curb appeal. That's all you're doing. You're basically sticking a Gucci badge on the property. You've done nothing to it.
Yeah.
But with flipping, you're doing a refurb. Something has tangibly changed that have increased and
The
improved
value.
the quality of the property. Yeah.
That's right. So would you say so? What was the deal that got away? There's your tutoring deal, the 400 grand profit. What was your deal that you think should have done it and I didn't? Was there anything that
Oh,
actually got away?
so it's so. Let's have a look. Let's just have a look and see if you got it. If you got. Oh no, you haven't got it here. Manny.
There's some other deal.
There is a section in here called underwriting.
Right. Okay.
Right, and there should be a nice little tab here. All right, because if you haven't read this bit, you've missed out. Like
Right. Go on.
a
Tell us
lot of the
what.
value of the book is in the back part. We saved the best for last. Underwriting. So it's probably best I gave the example. This is the deal that I think got away in the last couple of years, where I sit back and I think, we fucked it. Oh God, we fucked it. But it's difficult to say that we fucked it when we still made money. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
there's a paradox there. So we found a property that was going to auction. I won't disclose the auctioneer
Sure.
because we did an underwrite through that auctioneer. It's
Right.
a privacy thing.
Exactly.
But it was a building in Bristol, L-shaped,
Yeah. Residential or
solicitor's firm,
okay. Commercial office
but
building.
like two and a half stories tall, right? And it had like a carriage kind of like driveway thing and parking for like 12 cars or whatever it was, and a tiny bit of greenery around it. It took no imagination at all to look at that building and go 1 house, 2 house, 3 house, 4 house. And in that part of Bristol, those houses would be like £500,000-600,000
Each house.
each house.
So you're looking at about 2 million
GDV.
GDV.
Bear in mind that we're talking. There's no real GDV here. They look like houses already. It just needed internal reconfiguration
And legal.
and the legally bits, and it's commercial, so PD isn't too much of it. So anyway, and it just looked so good, and it was on the auction. I want to say for about £450,000.
Right.
It was producing 52,000.
So 10% yield.
Like more.
More than 10.
So yeah, and we saw it. Someone in the buyers club saw it, and it was like the day before the auction. We're like, "You have to be doing this deal." He goes, I can't do the deal. It's like, we're not going to let this opportunity pass. Just so you know, you've confirmed you're definitely not doing the deal. We have less than 24 hours to make this deal happen. Are you happy? He went, yeah, I'm happy. I'm not in the deal. Fine, 24 hours. We reach out to the auctioneer and say, look, we're happy to do this. He goes, they're not going to sell it prior, but they might do an underwrite, especially because it's you guys. We know that
We trust
you're
you.
going to do it. So we underwrote the property for £600,000.
Yeah, 150
and
over.
we did the deal with it was myself, Piotr, and a lady who was in the buyers club at the time. She's spoken at your events. She's absolutely phenomenal. She's amazing. So we did it as like a threesome in this deal, and it sold for £667,000.
Right. So how did the underwrite work? Go on,
So
tell us how
the
that
underwrite worked there because that auctioneer does a 50-50 underwrite. So
Right.
we agree to underwrite at 600. So if this goes to auction and no one bids, it sells to us at 600,000.
Yeah.
If it goes to auction, it sells for more, and this person fails to complete, it sells to us at £600,000. If it sells for more and it completes, we split the difference between 600 and in this case
67. So 30 grand each. You made 30 grand from literally just putting a bid in,
just being there.
underwrite bid.
Yeah. But this is the deal that got away. So whilst we made
You would have
30
actually
grand,
wanted to buy it.
now
right?
now we look back at it and we think,
Should have
bought
2
it.
million
We
GDV.
should have just paid an extra cup. We should have bid.
Yeah.
We didn't. We just should have bid.
Yes.
Because even if we went up to like seven,
You're looking at, like let's say like you said, you got to do the works, whatever. Let's say 100 grand per
yeah,
conversion or whatever, maybe slightly more, depending on when it was. You make almost a million, just under £1 million.
yeah.
Well, there's always the one, right?
There's always the one that gets away.
But you
But yeah, well, it's no small consolation that we followed through with the deal. We made 33 grand or
so
whatever it
it's
was.
better than a kick up the
It's a better
proverbial.
absolutely, 100%. I would take 33 grand rather than being kicked.
Exactly.
Any day of the week.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So tell us all about now that what is your and Piot's, like passion? I know you're not a volume trader. You're not doing those sort of numbers. What is your sort of strategy within your own business with Piot, in the auction?
So we're still trading. We have, every arm of our business is in the auction ecosystem.
Yeah.
So we want to help as many people sell, make sure that it goes to the right auction, marketed correctly, because that does make a difference. Then when we're buying, we want to be making sure that we're helping people buy. That's why we have the buyers club. No one loses money in the club because we can point out what's wrong beforehand. They adjust their price, they still go for it, or they just don't go for it. Then we obviously have like this book. We have the second book, which is the Black and Gold. We've got the YouTube channel where we're putting out content about auctions, about trading. We're doing a thing now with Safe where we're putting this trading academy together because actually traders make up more than 50% of the properties that go into auction.
Wow.
And realistically, traders could be doing better. So as a threesome, myself, Piotr and Safe, we're going to start training traders
Wow.
to improve
trade
industry,
better, yeah.
just to trade better. And
make it maybe more transparent and more open.
Just put public confidence in the fact that if they're dealing with a trader, they don't have to be thinking, oh, the trader's done X, Y, and Z. Add legitimacy to it. I think that's important. And just raising the standards of auctions in general, that's what we want to do. I mean, we'll move to a point where we keep flirting with the idea of building like a commercial property portfolio in the background, just as like income to substantiate.
Passive income, right? You don't have to worry about renters' rights bill and all the extra compliance coming into the residential world.
But obviously as a trader, you only eat what you kill.
Yes, that's the thing.
You know what I mean? Like there is no residual income trading unless you're safe. 20 deals a month, that becomes residual trading, but you have to keep that pipeline alive.
Yes.
And the juggling act of keeping a pipeline alive and moving is hard work.
And pressure, right?
And pressure.
And in addition to all the personal stuff that we have to do and everything else and looking after your health and all that. So I can see that. So are you guys kind of seriously considering buying maybe commercial or just yield-based investments possibly?
Yeah, I mean, so myself and Piotr are quite lucky because the majority of properties that we trade are commercial mixed-use properties or short lease flats. Just things that we are just like super like.
Are those your two?
Those are the things because we know that we can make money very quickly on those types of assets.
Yes.
And yeah, if it gets to the point where we'll end up holding back some choice ones, then that will be natural.
So be it.
But at the moment, the reality is we've got a business idea that's very early in the formulation.
That's fine. I'll leave you to tell us once you've probably.
But I think if we can find a way to make that business idea work, I think that could be something that really transforms the auction industry. And it sounds very pie in the sky, but I think as an entrepreneur, as a visionary, you have to
aim high, right?
You have to do that and try and bring it down to make it real. So there's a lot that we're kind of working on.
There's
positive relationships, working with buyers and sellers, working with good auctioneers, being transactional because the transactional creates the luck and the opportunities and brings things forward. That's kind of our focus.
So I want to talk to you about strategies in auctions itself right now. So, you've talked about short leases and commercial are two of your, main strategies that you look at. I know repossession properties is a massive one on, in auctions. What is the percentage of repossessed properties in a typical auction, would you say?
So I think if you include LPA receivers and mortgagees in and not in possession.
What is the difference, if you don't mind me asking?
So it just depends on who files with the court first,
Right.
right? Which one pulls in the debt first,
Yeah.
and sometimes they flip a point. I'm sure they just do.
So LPA is the actual receivers once the property has been repossessed.
Oh no, so LPA is if you're going into bankruptcy and you're not paying your other debts, they will then
Take it off you.
take it off you. So and then sometimes it's the lender that will do that first. It really is a flip of a
Right,
coin.
right.
But I think they make up about 20%
Percent of
the
every
market.
pretty much every auction out there, yeah.
Yeah.
And how is that is that something that you and Pure do? Would you advocate going to look for repossessions? Or how do you actually find these repossessions? And is that something like a beginner like me should come start looking at it? Or
So repossessions are very difficult properties to buy at auction. So from the 2008 property crash, when people were just handing back keys and all that kind of stuff was happening, the banks were speaking directly to the agents and the auctioneers. And essentially, the agents and the auctioneers were just giving deals to people they'd worked with for a long time.
yeah,
There was no real protection for people who had been repossessed. Now, LPA receivers and banks mainly have to go through
a
uh,
process of
asset managers.
yeah
So there is
funnel.
an intermediary that has the best interest of both parties to make sure that it gets the best price.
Right.
So you will see it, most auctioneers scream and shout by order of the LPA receivers. It will say it on the property details.
Right.
But for the mortgage repossessions, the standard completion for a mortgage repo in auctions in the UK is 14 days.
Right. So if you've not paid your mortgage?
No. So if you exchange contracts at auctions, you have
Right.
14 days to complete.
Oh, it's even quicker than the 28 days.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So then you'll know it by the terms.
It's all in the terms, and you have to be able to perform under that deadline. So that's the only
It's
thing.
a cash buyer, really.
It tends to be cash buyers. Yeah.
I think bridging in 14 days. I mean, it's possible.
Oh, it's absolutely possible. I mean, we do a lot of work with Roma. I know they sponsor your
Yes,
event,
they
like
do.
Claudine and that lot. I think
They do 14-day
Oh, I've seen it. Yeah.
completions.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, amazing.
I mean, as long as you give them it up front.
Yes, you
and say,
prepare it all up front.
Then they can do their AVM. They can get their
So-
underwriter to clear it and get everything, and then it just becomes a case of answering their questions. And actually, I think their process is pretty clear
Yeah.
and easy to run through. So yeah, you just can't surprise somebody with that. But yeah, they're a bridger, so they're absolutely in a position to be able to do that.
So you'd say for a beginner, repossession is not probably the best strategy.
Harder.
They're harder. Maybe it's for an experienced trader or an auction person.
Or if you have the capital free and available and you can cash buy, then you're making your life easier, for
Right.
sure. But I sometimes I think the easiest things to buy at auction are, it depends on what your strategy is. I know a lot of people that go to auction either to buy ready-made HMOs or under
Potential
optimized
HMOs, yeah.
or potentials. A 3-bed end of terrace house,
Yeah.
which is a 6-bed,
All day long,
all
right?
day long, and they're looking for stuff like that, and the price is already mitigated for it being auction. It's motivated. Once you exchange, you can instruct your build team, conversion plan
Exactly.
consultant. You can put that all into practice very quickly and easily. And I think that there's plenty of those opportunities.
So what, in your view, I'm sure, I mean, it sounds all amazing, but there must be stuff that's gone wrong in auctions,
constantly.
right?
Constantly.
So let's say I'm a first-time auction buyer. I go and buy something in auction, no pictures, no videos, none of that, right? I've gone for that and I've gone for it. I now complete on the day and I've got the 6 weeks or what have you, 4 to 6 weeks to complete. Sorry, exchange and now to complete. What if I find, like you said, a subsidence or some very big structural issues or whatever? What typically happens between the exchange and the completion at that point then?
So what I will say is, even if there is absolutely nothing wrong with the property, between exchange and completion, there is a psychological thing that happens to buyers.
Right.
It's called bidder's remorse.
Right.
Right. Once they've celebrated and they've had a drink or they've ordered a really nice meal for dinner and they're having a good time, they'll wake up the next day and they will have this overbearing
panic,
dread, this cold sweat that they just can't get rid of. And they've realized, wait, I've paid more money for this than anybody else was prepared to pay for it.
Oh.
That's what they tell themselves. I've overpaid.
Yeah.
then you can manufacture any kind of problem you
Right.
want to get yourself out of the deal, but there's nothing you can do.
Yeah. You
'Cause
have.
if you pull out, A, you're losing your deposit, and if the seller has to resell it, they're making a loss. Then they can sue you for detrimental reliance and
Oh,
their
can
holding
they?
costs. Oh, yes. Those, I mean, so some of the things that can happen is if you refuse to complete,
Yeah. I thought you
this
could just lose your deposit and that's
no,
it.
no, no, it's so much worse. This is why you don't do auctions lightly. I
Right.
mean, not that this happens every time, but the first thing that could happen is a seller could turn around and say, well, actually, I don't accept the fact that you're not completing. I'm going to go to court and I'm going to get a court order forcing you to complete on this purchase.
Right. Even if they're happy to forego your deposit.
Doesn't matter. They can go for specific
And
reliance
this
on
is
the
all in
contract.
the fine print.
This is not even fine print. It's
It's
English.
public
It's law.
knowledge. It's not. It's law.
Yeah, it's law. And now let's say that they don't want to go through the specific performance because it's costly. It takes a little while.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
they go, right, I'm just going to resell it. Now
Right.
let's say if it sells for £50,000 less,
Yeah.
they can take you to court and sue you for that £50,000 loss.
Wow. Again, that's
And they
in
can
law.
sue you for obviously their holding costs between then. And
Any interest that they're having to pay on any loans and things like that, they can claim
so
all of
you
that.
can very easily find yourself losing a £15,000 deposit and then being sued for a £25,000 difference between two prices and their holding costs
Right.
and a proportion of their legal fees.
So lots can go wrong, but that's why we come to Auction Buyers Club, right?
That's why you talk to professionals, hopefully.
Absolutely. I
but-
wouldn't do it any other way,
No,
I'll be honest with
But
you.
it's one of the main reasons why, depending on your risk profile, a lot of people don't buy at auction or sell because
Yeah.
the risk profile doesn't match.
Yes.
So, the auctions are probably 10% of the market transactions in the UK at the moment.
10%.
Yeah. Bear in mind, pre-COVID, it was like 3 or 4.
Oh, so it's doubled.
More than double.
I mean, like right now, with all what's going on in the market, as we know that landlords are mass exiting, into this world. There must be a lot of stock out there, as you said.
Oh, yeah.
And what's the kind of percentage-wise on different auctions? What are people selling? How much is selling right now?
It's up and down, and it depends where you are in the country. It depends the type of auctioneer you are. You've got the modern method style auctioneers where, they move at a different speed. They operate differently to the traditional guys, and there's only really 2 or 3 of those kind of operators, but they're big. And then you have the national auctioneers, which will be selling any property anywhere in the country.
Right.
And then you have the local auctioneers. And then you have to divvy those groups up into the hybrid, where you see the auctioneer bidding and the bidding window. So, and they all have their own little niches and things that they're really very good at. So trying to kind of blend that across to say how the market's doing is really difficult to do.
But typically, would you say, I mean, not across all the auctions, but let's say the ones that you work with, right?
Yeah.
The ones that you come across every single week, and you're looking at what, 50% of stock actually selling? Because obviously some of them they withdraw, then that's not included in the calculation and stuff.
So,
Typically,
I mean, last year, I think the average real sell success rate, because not including everything that they listed versus what they sold rather than removing the withdrawals and postponed, was about, 58, 62%.
that's pretty good,
And
though, I would have thought,
around
right?
that level, yeah.
Is that considered good?
In real terms, it's considered good, but I would say in the last 6 weeks. So one of the things that we found is when COVID kicked off, before COVID, there weren't really any August or January auctions, rarely.
Summer and
But now there are, at least for the last 4 years. It became no one was going anywhere.
Yeah.
So of course run an auction because
what else is there to
who
do?
had a life? Who was going to go to Barbados? Who was going to do all these? Nobody was. And actually, this year, I think July to early September,
Yeah.
there was a struggle. I think people have been going back on holiday,
Yeah.
but not that should affect anything because last year people went back on holiday, but they still bid from their laptop, their phone.
Yeah.
No, unless you're in outer Mongolia, up a mountain, there's no reason why you can't have
Exactly.
signal to bid on the property.
So you think this year has been quieter than 2024 for auctions?
Only for
This last
for that-
6 weeks.
Yeah, and I don't. It's too early or too soon to that from that result to know if there is actually a contagion in terms of
pattern.
market sentiment
Yeah.
or the decline of the market. We would need to get to a February auction to see how a 6-month cycle is essentially run
Yeah.
to know whether there's a problem here.
Right.
And sometimes the market catches a cold. A bit of international news comes out and people get scared, or
So
everyone's expecting the inflation rate to go down or the interest rate to go.
yeah.
And if they don't hear it or it's not what they want to hear, then people sit on their hands.
So
The market
so do you
crashes.
think right now people are kind of a little bit holding back because of the budget, possibly
I
even?
think some people are, but some people
Actually, it
carry on
might be a great time
regardless.
for
It's a
other people to
perfect time.
actually come in and swoop the deals.
We have the last 5 years, we have bought more properties in August and September than we have
And the best deal, right? Because not
the
many people are
best
look, people are
deals.
too busy on the Barbados
Yeah.
beaches.
And it's when I give the example of the Birmingham property being sold in the Kent auction, it's a limited market, and that's where you have the opportunity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So would you say now is the right time then for someone like me, a novice?
I
A
mean,
novice in auctions, but not necessarily in property, obviously,
yeah,
to come in and
there's never a wrong time. And I say this to everybody all the time. Like, when should I get involved in property? 20 years ago, ideally. But if not 20 years ago, yesterday. If
yeah,
not yesterday, today. And if not today, tomorrow. But you just do it. Because there's always opportunity. But people always say, oh, it's harder, it's this, it's that. If you're starting out doing a certain thing, it's harder for the people before you. It's not necessarily harder for you. It's hard,
yeah.
but everything's hard.
And would you say niching is a good way to actually buy in auctions? Like you guys
I'm
have a
completely
couple of
biased. Yes.
niche,
Yeah.
yeah.
But I know people, that, you know, that only buy certain properties in Kent or in in around this area because they only do HMOs in this area in Kent.
Ah,
Do you know what I mean? A- and that's their niche.
yeah. And
You know,
niching like for example, in the open market, niching is good, like
yeah.
commercial to residential, or you might be doing HMOs. But I think it's probably the similar kind of principles that apply in
But
auctions.
traders don't really niche.
Oh, they'll
Traders are opportunity driven,
driven.
led, focused people. They see an opportunity. They think they can make 5 grand on that. They'll do the deal for the sake of the 5K that they'll
Yes,
make.
because like you said, it's the churn, it's the
And it's the
churning the
volume.
money, and
Volume, velocity, and value. That's how volume traders work. They figure out the value, they make the volume, and they work at speed. That's the stall that they focus on. That's the triangle of competency that they need to manifest to get
and would
good
you
deals.
count yourself in that trading sort of
No,
paradigm?
we do the two of the three.
Yeah,
We do value and we do velocity. We do value very well. We do speed very well. We don't need volume.
volume. Yeah.
We got operational businesses that we focus on. We trade for
You've
fun.
got education businesses
Yeah,
as well, right? To be fair.
and everything we trade for fun. Like,
Yeah.
it's an enjoyable experience for us. Obviously, it makes money. That doesn't hurt. But it's not. We're not reliant upon it.
Yeah.
In the same way, we're not reliant upon income that we derive from Hammered or all of these. It's the multiple streams
It's
of income.
yeah,
The ecosystem feeds all into the main pot. So for us, if the opportunity comes up, we're traders at heart, so we're going to do it.
yeah.
But if we don't do a deal for 3 or 4 months, we're not
You're not
cap in
like
hand, we're not crying, we're not upset.
exactly.
Yeah.
So would you say you've got an equal passion for auctions as much as you do for educating?
Yes. Yeah. But I mean, the key piece around the educating around the auctions is that I worked for Auction House London for 7 years, and I picked up the phone. I dealt with buyers. I dealt with sellers, and the real issue there was a lack of understanding and education.
Yeah.
And actually, I think auction is one of the best ways to transact property because it gives you that speed and certainty. I
Yeah.
think that's so valuable. But more people could do it if more people knew more about it.
Yeah.
So we put ourselves out there to make it improve the industry standards on the professional side, but also bring more people into it to make it a more viable route to buy and sell. And we're very passionate about that.
No.
So the educational side, it feeds into that quite nicely.
So before we wound and wrap up, I just wanted to maybe just ask what else went wrong in auctions? Not just for you, but maybe in part of your wider auction buyers club. What's the worst that can happen? Or what has happened? Is there anything that you think, oh, that went terribly wrong? And, in the end, they probably recovered and made up their money and whatever. But, it went really wrong and should have done it totally different or...
There were a lot of teething issues when COVID kicked off, because it went from December auctions in 2019 to February auctions in 2020. All of a sudden, there's this news about a lurgy from China or wherever people made up. But this lurgy going around, and it's a really horrible cold.
Yes.
At that point, no one had heard that it was this pandemic scale infect that was
Going
killing
to shut
people.
the world
Like,
down,
it
basically,
just
right?
did pretty much. Nobody knew at that point. So then the lockdown came, where they said, "Oh, no people beyond this number and keeping it within the household," all this kind of stuff. And there were some auctioneers that had 3 days to reorganize their entire existence around, we can't hold an in-room auction
Yeah.
with 500 to 700 people. That
But
doesn't exist
what are we going to do?
now. We have to then, the online kind of EIG, Bamboo, three or
Yeah.
four others had to then figure out, well, actually, how do we now move this all online for people to be able to bid? In some instances, 72 hours was all the time that they had to keep the
Move.
train. And there were issues. Some buyers didn't realize that they had to pay their deposit immediately, and some solicitors' offices weren't able to kind of
Take all
change, because
take
they
all the
had to all move from their offices to home, and then they're dealing with like confidential things. So they had a whole security test before they could work from home,
operate before they could operate,
before they could
basically.
operate, and that caused a lot of issues. And I know people who transactions have fallen through and lost money doing that, but they survived.
Yeah.
But
They made profit in some other deal, maybe.
Yeah.
But was there anything apart from this whole kind of, thing that was led externally anyway through something that we didn't know was happening? That you bought a deal, or you and Pure have got a deal and it's gone horribly wrong. Is that something that you
oh
may want
God,
to share?
yeah.
Or
I mean, I could. There's
maybe
one.
maybe the one.
There's one that I could talk about, but I prefer to be drunk when I tell it, because
Okay.
then it means that I don't have to like leave here, get in my car,
get
and
that
cry for
pain.
half an hour. Do you know what I mean? Like just sobbing like a sad man in a car. But it was one of the deals. So like I say, very very rarely do we buy something off market, and this was off market. And it was a block of 14 flats, 2 sold off, so 2 1-beds. All the others were 2-bed flats in SE7 Charlton.
It was under
London.
one freehold, no,
One freehold,
but 2 sold off.
2 sold off, and everything else had its own lease.
Okay, yeah, it
'Cause
was on
that's
long
good.
leases or
Yeah,
whatever.
long
Yeah.
leases, but it's good for valuing, because then
Yes.
you don't have all
But you
the
already
underlying
bought it with
providers
the leases in place.
already in place. It had parking for like 15 cars or whatever it was, and it was producing, I would say, about £220,000 per annum income from the 12
From the flats.
from the 12 flats that are left. The transaction needs to happen quickly, and we had got our offer accepted at 2 million.
Already to sell.
But we were buying it.
Oh, you're buying it for 2 million.
Buying it for 2 million. At the point that we had exchanged, we were already exchanging with somebody else.
Yeah.
At 2.95 million.
Okay.
So you hear that and you think,
Wow.
say that's £950,000. What were you doing? I was dancing around naked every chance I got. What else was I doing? I spent the money. I was living in Barbados. I'd done all of those things, which is obviously not what you do in your head. You don't get overly motivated.
Excited, yeah.
But and to make that deal happen, we had to give, on the in, we had to give someone 100 grand, and on the out, to bring that buyer in, we had to give some couple of 100 grand as well. So we weren't ever getting the 950, more like 600, 650, something like that. But still,
good number.
Not something to
take lightly, right?
Bear in mind, it was back to backing.
Yes. So you weren't ever going to have to. You still had to put some money in. You said so.
Yeah, not much though.
But yeah, compared to what the money was you buying.
Yeah.
And then the back to back.
And then we found out that the solicitor firm for the seller was perpetrating a fraud.
Oh, the actual guy, the block solicitor, the guy, the original owner. And what was he trying to do? Oh, he was trying to sell it to someone else.
No, we still don't know what's actually happened. We're pursuing it through the SRA and all that kind of stuff. They were saying that they had someone hack into their system and pretend to be one of their solicitors, but the money that we transferred to them went to their account.
To the solicitor's account.
To the solicitor's account.
And?
Gone.
The money disappeared.
Along with all the other money in the account, supposedly.
All the money in all of the other clients' money. So this guy disappeared off the planet.
Well, the owner of the law firm and the other main solicitor, no, they haven't disappeared off the planet.
They're still here.
Yeah,
But
I
this
mean,
one
they can't run their own law firm again, and they're under they can't handle client
they,
money ever again.
absolutely. And so you lost the money basically. But it wasn't nothing to do with the deal itself.
No.
Because it wasn't. So this was something completely out of your control. But like you said, you made it in some other deal. You made 400 grand in
Oh, no,
total.
don't get me wrong. Like, it should it have happened? No. Do these things happen? Yes.
And you never.
Are we now going to be acutely aware of the red flags that we didn't notice before? Absolutely.
Yeah.
But that was our hit. We took that on the chin. There was no investor money involved. That's all us.
So you didn't even sell it in the end, right?
No,
No.
we
You
couldn't
didn't even
it.
buy it, I mean to say, in the end, yeah. But let's leave on a happy note, because I don't want you to
Yes.
think about this when you're
Let's do
driving
that,
back all
yeah.
that way.
Don't want to be crying up the M1.
Absolutely not. So tell us, apart from the tutoring deal, what else what makes you smile? What makes you get out of bed every morning? Where's that, the passion for education and for auctions? What keeps you going?
I love the art of the deal. I love negotiating. I like finding a deal, negotiating it. All the bits after that bore the hell out of me.
Yeah.
But that's why I've got Piot, because actually Piot's systemized and practical and does all that bit. But I love the bit at the beginning and the bit at the end. The bit in the middle bores me.
Yeah.
I'd be a terrible developer. I would be.
You like going and
horrendous.
hunting for the deal.
I'd
Deal
just
hunt.
hunt and negotiate, solve the problem, structure it in an efficient and effective way, and then having it sell and making that money. Those are the bits that I love.
Yeah.
And that keeps me fired up, and showing other people how to do that as well, and seeing their eyes light up with, oh God, I didn't know I could do that. And yeah.
Well, I'm actually quite excited. I've been telling you for a while, but I think I'm going to do it in 2025. I'm going to join the Auction Buyers Club, and it's on video now, so I can't back away from it. But honestly, I'm so excited to work with you and Piot. Actually, having that one little experience of selling that garages through you and making good profit out of it, has really excited me out. I really want to do it, and with someone like you and Piot, who are generally nice guys. So thank you so much for your time today. I think that ends it really well. Really, really appreciate your time, and looking forward to working with you and welcoming you back at Titans at some point very soon as well.
Very easily. It's one of the events I really love coming to.
Yeah, we love to
put
see
a whole
more of
spread
you.
on. I mean, you can't. The best way to get me to travel cross country is to offer me food.
Food.
So
Okay,
easily, so easily, and it's a good group of people as well. I mean, you got obviously a hardcore group of regulars, but you pull in like so many people. It's
Yeah,
insane.
it's great. It's great. Like, I know community is great, right? And you've always...
We're big on that. But I mean, I remember like coming to like the J6 events where there was maybe 25, 30
30 people.
But still, I mean, I recognize some of those people from that room in the Titans room.
I know.
And I think that's magical. The fact that people are still there doing things and
Yes.
engaging, it's magical.
I think we're there at all riding the roller coaster wave of the property journey.
That's it,
Just
yeah.
loving it still, right?
So sometimes, we're business people, not just property people, and business can be quite lonely. But so having those environments and those networks, if nothing else comes of it, it's the fact that people aren't just doing it alone.
Yeah.
I think that's
And
huge.
having a laugh along the way, right?
Yeah.
Laughing at yourself if nothing, if
No,
nobody...
no. Oh, yeah. You have no idea. I stand in front of the mirror and I have to laugh at myself.
Hello?
Yeah,
With
yeah.
all these
With
tattoos?
all of these
Definitely,
tattoos,
right?
yeah.
Brilliant. Listen, thank you so much, Jay. Really, really appreciate your
Thank
time.
you for inviting me.
Guys, if you enjoyed watching that, please do like, share, subscribe, and comment for regular property updates. Titans is a property education and collaborative platform, which is effectively a community of property professionals, investors, developers who like to come together, connect, engage, and help grow each other's businesses. Find out more, Team Titans or Coro 2K.